Hello again, this is Pick and welcome back to my developer commentary for Integration by Parts DX presented by FTB. Today I'm starting by building a boathouse for the steam tug I made at the end of last episode. By the end of the episode I would like to be prepared to construct a proper base. This will include the gathering of materials for said base as well as better means to place the blocks down. Naturally, the boathouse is going to accommodate for Tugathy going in and out, dropping off his haul every time he passes through. I don't really have a design in mind, so I just kinda build whatever feels right. More barges will greatly increase the speed at which we get nuggets and enchanted books. Normally, fishing barges only catch fish, but I changed it so they pick up all fishing loot, which makes them much more appealing. It's not much, but it's a start. The drawers will handle all the stackable items, while the barrels are there for anything else. There's also going to be a trash can to avoid what I don't want, like leather boots and water bottles. Some item pipes will be sufficient for moving items from the boat collection to the respective storage units. The pipe will run underwater through the floor and up the back. And with that, it's just about done. I think I did a pretty good job. Had to get at least a little building done. Now to get started on a better generator. I won't install it until the new base is ready, but I at least want it prepared. I can take these machines down now, so I'll salvage them for parts. With space open to the sky, I can link the crystal at the desert shrine to iron ore to make star metal ore. The more you place, the slower it goes, but it keeps all of its linked blocks, so it's still more efficient. I also happened to come across some blitzes as I plan on using its drop to make an upgraded Duskstone sword. Best to fight with a bow. So I went home, but was one star metal ingot short of what I needed. Oops. At least I found another shrine along the way, and it had some pretty good loot in it, so I guess it was worth going back after all. Star metal ore smelts into 3 nuggets, so be sure to get at least 51 ore before you plan on not making any more. The cutting tool will break ingots to stardust, but I'm not going to use it just yet. The other 16 ingots are going into the Starlight factory, which can make more star metal from mana steel and starlight. It doesn't require any mana or energy to function, which is a nice break. And now I'm going to cannibalize it for the casings. For just a moment anyway, I'll replace them momentarily. So much for the space I made by removing the Duskstone mixer and plate presser. In any case, the Starlight Enchanter was the first major goal I had planned today, and I end up using it exactly once in this episode. What it does is make enchanted books from item ingredients prepared at the max tier, so for example, Efficiency 5 or Fortune 3. Note that you'll need to fill it from an insightful crystal for the experience points. I also built a mana enchanter, forgetting that I disabled it. I re-enabled it and reloaded the game. Tugathy is bringing us enchanted books on his own, but also a lot of other unstackable junk, so it's time to filter that into a trash can. Switching gears, I would like to prepare for tech stuff. Electron tubes are made in the energizing orb. Then a machine block from some industrial grade metal and a fuse. You might want a fair number of these, they're used a lot. Some cables make a battery, which we want for a basic generator. This is an upgrade to the Furnator as it produces 10 zaps per tick, which is equal to 40 RF per tick. The Furnator only made 15. Industrial Contraptions power converts to RF, but not the other way around. This tool will be very handy. For a mana cost, the Rod of the Plentiful Mantle will find ores for you. It picks a random color each time you use it, so it isn't perfect, but it will definitely help me find more draconium. If I make mana weave robes, it'll be more efficient and have a larger search radius, so for now I want to focus on that. An amount of mana grinding later and the set is complete. To use the mana enchanter, place your desired item onto the enchanter block, then drop the books you want to enchant it with on the ground beside it. Note that it will only use the first enchantment on each book. This means that a Slug Touch book you get from fishing loot might not be usable, as it might be the second enchantment on the book, so the Starlight Enchanter has some merit over endlessly fishing. It will also consume a fair amount of mana, so be prepared, but you do get the books back. I enchanted a mana steel pickaxe with Fortune 3 in vein mining, so it's simple to fortune ores. I then had the brilliant idea of searching the Nether for draconium. However, I lost the footage, so here's a demonstration of what it would have looked like. Since the Nether has far fewer ore types in it, and vein mining netherrack is enabled, searching for draconium isn't actually too bad. The pickaxe also self-repairs. Now I can make duskstone tools. This small surplus of metal is quite useful as it doesn't have to be processed. Putting it through the smeltery isn't that hard, but it still saves time. By now you probably get the point with crafting multi-block components and submitting them to the quest book. I don't really need to show this step, so I won't anymore. Believe me, I hate the machine cramming just as much as you do. The real facility can't come soon enough. The carpenter is going to be used a lot for electronic components. Sometimes the fluid is solder, sometimes adhesive, depends on the recipe. Insulating glass and a copper plate make a circuit backplate. Throw that into the carpenter with some electron tubes, redstonium, tin plates, and molten lead, and it will fabricate into a tier 1 circuit assembly. A lot opens up at this point, but the next thing I want isn't an industrial contraptions machine at all, it's the block duplicator. This will produce many of the blocks I want for construction, though I don't know what palette I want to work with yet, so I'm just going to make a bunch of different ones and see what I like. The block that goes over the duplication core is what determines the machine's output. You can absolutely abuse this for infinite stone, bricks, or whatever, but I don't really mind given that those are about the only useful blocks it makes. The rest are all aesthetic. Remember that it accepts either power type. While I wait for the duplicator to run, I figured I'd make a little more storage space. Despite having the most playtime out of the 3 episodes I've done so far, this has a lot less usable footage, because a lot of it is mundane tasks, waiting, and building. Another thing in that lost footage that I forgot to mention was the gust sword I made. It doubles my run speed and stacks with the Sojourner's Sash. If you want it to get anywhere quickly, perhaps it might interest you. It also has fast attack speed. Togethi has been bringing in a lot of good enchanted loot, mainly books, so if you want to peek at that, here it is. I'll of course be using this with the Mana Enchanter when possible, but not every book is going to be useful because the enchant I want might be on the 2nd enchantment slot. I then go on a quest to hot and cold biomes to recover jasper and slate. I don't quite know if the tremendous biomes work for them. I would have to check later. While exploration is relevant, I might as well track down the end. I make a bow in preparation. This should put me the dragon bite rather easily. I just need more blaze powder. On an unrelated note, I'm already 17 parts into the 26 I recorded for this episode. So much of that footage was useless given that I only have about 8 minutes of footage at this point. I guess that's how it goes though when the episode is only moderately eventful. Next episode should have more to do. The next episode might take a while to come out, depends on how much dev work and real life work I have to do, but that's how it goes, as long as something productive comes out of it. Despite barely fighting this thing or using bows, I somehow still have good aim. I guess that makes this go faster. This is gonna need a nerf too, isn't it? It's just like old Minecraft. And I suppose that is the end of that. Roll credits. Or don't, the dragon wasn't the reason I came to the end. Let's see where I spawn in. Hopefully it won't take too long to find some crystal mountains. Oh, okay. Where is this luck when I play on Pokemon Showdown? I grab some crystal shards and some nearby wood and leave. I can always return later, but for now the crystal shards were all I wanted. Let's get back to crafting some machines. An extruder is first on the list. It will allow me to make wires efficiently, which are going to be used for many things. This sure is slow. If only there were some free overclockers in the quest book to speed it up. The macerator? This grinding machine lets me double ores. I could have made the immersive engineering crusher, but this takes less setup, and since we're about to move, I figure it's better to just move one block. I also need to crush ingots into dusts for advanced alloy. With that I can make reinforced stone, which makes reinforced glass, which goes into leadstone thrusters. That brings us to the next checkpoint of this episode, a leadstone jetpack. While slow, it is capable of perfect hover, making it ideal for me to build with. A quest reward also provides me with a basic energy cube to charge it. At least it has a fairly large battery. Given its intended usage, it should be sufficient for a while. I'm not 100% sure what I want the build to look like, but I do want it to be in this general location. I like the view of the water, and I want to make use of that island for magic stuff. Maybe I could put a port of some sort at the bottom to get more out of the tugboats. If I want to retrieve lava, I can probably make an offshore pump platform that takes the lava to a surface structure, which the tug can then bring back. The island will be connected by a bridge to the mountain, and maybe a tug can go underneath the bridge. There's a lot to take into consideration, but that's how building in Minecraft is. At least I can be as fickle as I want with block pallets given my large supply. I also have to clear a lot of space. This process can be very experimental, just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. I do like this palette, and might go for an exposed industrial style. How many buildings I have and other things will come later. I also replaced my Paxel with an enchanted mana steel all-in-one tool. It only needs mana to replenish its durability, so as a work tool it does the job and it does it very well. I have a very large area to clear and I guess I'm gonna do it manually. This replaced my lumber axe as well, as with the vein mining it does the same thing, albeit by killing the frame rate. But time wasted here is time saved there with how long it took to chop the trees down with the lumber axe. Manually clearing a space every now and then isn't bad either. By grinding up some wood, I can make sawdust for a cardboard box. This will make moving into the new facility very facile. Cardboard boxes store the data of the block or tile entity that you put them on and let you move them elsewhere. Though anything that would cause issues was blacklisted, of course. I made a basic storage area and placed down some drawers and barrels. There's plenty of room for cabling inside, as I do plan on adding a drawer controller next episode. At this point I'm mainly just transferring inventories, but you can see the basic shape of the primary factory building. Or at least its skeleton. It won't be a boring box. I don't do boring boxes these days, and you've seen that from my prefabs. By the way, the engineer's crafting table is useful if you want a crafting table that stores items in it. It has over half a chest worth of storage space for common crafting ingredients, and it doesn't have any visual bugs like some other crafting tables. At some point I made mega torches, which keep hostile mobs from spawning in a decently large radius. It makes working at night much easier, and even lets me AFK without sleeping. They only cost a couple blocks of gold and a couple diamonds, which are in no short supply at this stage with all of the resources I have. I know this episode wasn't too terribly long, but there's only so much I can do with the footage I have. By next episode I should have a proper base. For now though, thanks for watching. This has been Pick. I'm glad to have seen you, and I hope to see you again.